Race number 2 about to get underway here in Barcelona. It's round 7. Welcome, everybody. We've got an 18-lap race coming up, and we could crown our champion in this race. So get comfortable. It's going to be a good one, and our champion could be crowned on the penultimate round of the season. 2 more races coming up tomorrow. Grid for this was set yesterday. We've got a warm track out there. 23 degrees here in Spain. It's been beautiful this weekend. Great to be out here. Makes a difference to what I've been having back in the UK, I have to say, and I am saying that to make anyone in the UK very jealous. Out of the pits come the drivers to get ready for the warm-up lap. Race early, we had some good moves pulled off in that, I have to say. It was a pretty decent race to watch, but Rafael went on to win it, and went on to win it very convincingly as well. Lucas Dunner would finish in 2nd place, and finishing in 3rd place would be Nicholas Cruton with his 5th podium of the season. Cars just coming out onto the circuit. Rafael on drop scores, he currently leads by 70 points, and he could, I'd say, unofficially crown himself the champion today. He only needs a 50-point advantage going into tomorrow, so yes, he could wrap this one up very easily today. If he beats Lucas Dunner, then that is pretty much your title done. He was about 5 or 6 points away from doing it in the first race, but if he goes on and beats Lucas Dunner in this race, he will be the champion in Euroformula of 2020. So he took the win earlier from Lucas Dunner. Nicholas Cruton finished in 3rd. Zane Maloney, a much-needed 4th place for him, just behind his rookie rival, Nicholas Cruton. Manuel Maldonado was in 5th place, and then we had Glenn Van Berlo coming up from 9th place to 6th. Cameron Daz was in 7th place. Louis Foster, unfortunately, dropping back on the last lap. He was on the attack of Glenn Van Berlo when that happened. He finished in 8th. Rui Andrade was 9th. Ido Cohen just snuck inside the points in 10th. Bardignon was 11th. Villa Gomez, one of the new additions to this round, was 12th. Mateus Luton, the other, in 13th. Sadly, if you're an Esner fan, it was an absolute disaster. The pair come together. It wasn't an incident between the two. It was more Andreas had been pushed wide a little bit, and Sebastian was on the outside with nowhere to go. So the pair resulted in them making slight contact, and unfortunately the damage would see both of them come into the pit lane. So an absolute disaster for the pair of them. 14th and 15th they were. Esner got a penalty as well to add insult to injury. So they've got a lot of work to do in this race, but good news for them is that Andreas starts in 4th place and Sebastian starts in 7th place. It's not a Ye and Dunner front row either. It's Cameron Daz who's going to be starting on the front row alongside Rafael, so that should add some interest to this race as well. Lucas Dunner was side by side with Ye going down towards turn number 1 on the start of the first race. Yeah, just doing enough to hold on to his advantage there. Cameron Daz, though, he'll have his eye on going up to take the lead of the race. Overtaking proved to be difficult, but it could be done, and one of the provers of that was the likes of Louis Foster, who was pulling off some fantastic moves as he came down through the field. He's going to start down in 10th place for this one. So Daz the start's going to be critical. If Daz can get himself into the lead of the race, there's no reason why he can't go on to take the win. He hasn't had an overall podium so far this season, and it surprises me every time I say it, because his pace has been fantastic. He's driven so well most occasions, just hasn't really gone his way. So I'd never like to be cheering anyone, complete unbiased, but I've got to say a part of me would be happy for Cameron Daz, shall I say, if he were to go on and get a podium or even a win in this race. Yeh, however, can crown himself the champion. 5-minute board going up will be underway very shortly in the Euroformula Open. And this is where we're going to end the season, and we could crown our champion today. Here he is in picture. The title looks to be staying in Asia. There is Yeh, who's going to start this one from pole position, his 12th. That was his 11th pole when he took pole yesterday for race number 2. He made it 12 this morning. Here's Cameron Daz. He's going to start alongside him on the front row. Let's see what the American can do. He's shown brilliant pace. Can he convert that into a podium now? Lucas Dunner will be one of the drivers that'll want to stop that. He's going to be starting directly behind his Crypto Tower Racing teammate. Lucas Dunner has driven fantastically all season. Can he add to his 6 wins? Let's find out. Andreas Cessna really needs a good result. He needs a podium. It's been Paul Ricard since Paul Ricard. He's only been on there once, and Andreas Cessna will be desperate to get back. He's been unlucky in qualifying, but 4th place for him. Let's see what he can do from there. Needs a good start. Wasn't able to get one at the start of race number 1. He is going to round row number 2. To row 3, Manuel Maldonado. He finished and started 5th in the last race. He'll start 5th once again in this race. He'll hope to finish maybe 1 or 2 higher, though. He had a good start to the weekend in terms of racing. Nicholas Cruton, 3rd for him in race 1. Had to make some positions to do that as well. Let's see where he can go in this one. He will start from 6th place. Sebastian Essner needs a finish, needs a points finish, and potentially try and get himself into the top 5. He's going to start from 7th place in this one. Glenn Van Berlo, the run goes on, the only driver to score points in every race. He starts in 8th place, continues to show this consistency. We'll hope to keep that run going in this race. Zane Maloney, good to see him back to his usual self in terms of results. 4th place in the first race, and he looks confident. He looks up for this one. He starts in 9th. Louis Foster, the man who probably made the most moves in that first race, he's going to start from 10th. Watch for that double R car to be getting on the move. 6th place, Edo Cohen, points in the first race, just the 1. He'll want to add to that in this race. He starts from 11th. Good form for him at Spartak. 2 podiums there. Rui Andrade, he will start from 12th place, the Crypto Tower Racing driver. Just behind the top 10. All about the start for him. Alexandre Bardignon starts from 13th place. Van Amersfoort driver in the number 25 there. And then we come to the 2 new additions to this round. Rafael Villagomez is going to start from 14th place. Good to see the Mexican with us this weekend, getting quicker and quicker every time he goes out, as is Matheus Luton. Matheus Luton will start in 15th place. Let's look back at race 1 and show you what happened in that one. So we got underway, and Lucas Dunner to the left of screen got a great start, draw immediately alongside with Yeh, and Yeh in the end would just about hold on. Nicholas Cruton going straight into 3rd place. There you can see the 2 orange and black cars running wide. It resulted in contact, in damage, and it resulted in 2 pit stops. This was the first of Louis Foster's move on the opening lap of the race on Alexandre Bardignon. He would do more of those as the race went on. Lucas Dunner did everything he could, but just simply couldn't keep up with Yeh, who in the end would open up a gap of just under 5 seconds, and he would go on to add to a huge tally of victories. It was his 8th win, sorry, of the season. We're very close then to getting Euroformula Open underway, this race number 2 of the weekend, as the grid is now being cleared. Drivers with their own thoughts very shortly will be underway. time for race number 2 of 4 here in Barcelona this weekend. Ye and Daz are going to be your front row. Behind them on row number 2, Lucas Dunner and Andreas Essner. Starting on row 3, Manuel Maldonado and Nicholas Cruton. Sebastian Essner hoping for a better result this time. He and Glenn Van Berlo will share the 4th row of the grid. Zay Maloney, a good result for him, a much needed one with 4 from race 1. Louis Foster, a hard charger, he starts 10th. Cohen and Andrade will share the 6th row of the grid. Then we have Alexandra Bardignon, Rafael Villagomez and Matthias Luton will start at the back of the field on row number 8. Cars go off for their warm-up lap, and I'm going to bring in Elliot Wood now. Elliot, tell us what you found out after the first race then. What were the post-race reactions from the drivers?
Lucas Dunner was struggling a little bit with setup after qualifying. He made further tweaks. It didn't quite work out as he planned. Ye, who has historically struggled at Barcelona, obviously won the race. Turns out after the second lap, he was actually basically on tyre conservation. He wasn't really pushing his car at all. Now, whether he's going to reuse those tyres later this weekend, I don't know. But he was enjoying himself there. Matthias Luton, fairly pleased with his first race in Euroformula. He thinks there's a lot of improvements he can still make in this race and in the 2 races tomorrow as well. Quite a few drivers were a bit annoyed about the curbs at turn 15. That is turn 15, the final corner, because well, when we say a curb, it's not like a roadside curb. It's huge, and when you do hit it, it damages the car. So they were told to avoid it, and the drivers who didn't paid the price, and that's racing drivers for you. But overall, everyone's looking forward to racing today. I think a lot of people were preparing for 2 races this weekend because we were supposed to be racing at Jarama the weekend after, and they've actually really enjoyed the intensity of this weekend's schedule, having everything crammed in. And it kind of gives them a little more attention as well because I guess they're the biggest race series at this meeting this weekend.
We're on the formation lap now. Did you speak to Louis Foster or any of the guys at Double R at all?
I didn't, and I didn't quite catch what happened on the final lap with Cameron Dass.
Well, we're good at our jobs, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I was technically running to the podium at that point.
The unknown. But hey, he made some great moves though, didn't he?
Yeah, I think turn 10 we picked out as one of the places to pass, and he made that corner his own, diving out at the very last moment and making, I think, was it 2 passes there or 3? I think one of them wasn't caught on camera, one of his passes, but we definitely saw 2 there.
Good stuff. What are your predictions for this one then? Anyone to watch out for down the field, do you think?
I think Louis Foster. In fact, in his Spa-Francorchamps races, he started quite far down the order in the first race, but made up a lot of places. Van Amersfoort racing drivers, they will be very quick off the line. They'll make up a lot of spots, but somehow at the end of the first lap, you'll be wondering why they haven't kept those places, as we saw in the first race. As the drivers line up on the grid, the shadows following them are now going behind the car. You can't really see that, but it's because the sun is setting to the west, and the pit straight goes roughly from kind of northeast to southwest. So it's heating up the track surface, and it's heating up the pit straight in particular, which means you're losing a lot less tyre temperature than you usually would.
Green flag waves at the back as we look at picture. Ye is to the right of screen and Daz is to the left, and race number 2 is underway, and a brilliant start from Cameron Daz. He could take the race lead here as we go down towards turn number 1, and Daz, oh no, Ye just a better start there. Maybe anticipated a better start than it was, but Ye is going to lead. Cameron Daz is going to look to the outside there, going down towards turn number 1. Andreas Essner looks to have got into 3rd place, and Lucas Dunner drops to 5th. Manuel Maldonado going into 4th place there as we make our way round turn 3. See Nicholas Cruton there trying to hold off Glenn Van Berlo as they come down towards turn number 4. Ye has already got a gap here. Daz is trying to hold off Andreas Essner. We've got moves trying to be made in the background. That looks like Louis Foster down the inside there as he makes his way now up towards turn 5. He's side by side with Sebastian Essner as we now come round the left-hander, and Louis Foster now on the outside of Zay Maloney as well, and goes up that position. So it's Louis Foster in 9th place as they make their way downhill into T7. Foster trying to line up Maloney. Out front, though, it's Yeh ahead of Daz, Andreas Esner, Manuel Maldonado. And we have Dunner, Cruton, Van Berlo, Maloney, Esner behind Foster in 10th place. Cohen, Andrade, Bardignon as we hit the brakes down towards turn number 10. Here are the moves. Louis Foster diving down the inside of Maloney, and he's got through, and simultaneously, I think that was Rui Andrade trying to make a move behind as we now come up the hill once more. And Louis Foster, straight away on the first lap, got into 8th place.
Yeah, and I think he started 2 places below there, so pretty good job there. Yifei already checks out in the first sector by 0.7 seconds. I think he's probably going to have a 1.2 second lead by the end of this lap. Pretty strong opening lap, and he actually complained that he couldn't get the temperature into the tyres, and the same with his teammates, but it certainly looks like they have this time round. See Glenn Van Berlo going almost onto the grass down the pit straight, so he tries to make a move. He was getting very racy on the first lap as well. Going into the first corner, they are still side by side. The overtake is only going to be done on the apex, and there he does it. Van Berlo into 6th place ahead of Niklas Cruton.
Good driving from Glenn Van Berlo, almost repeating what he did in the first race, getting up to 6th place just after the opening lap. And this is good news for Louis Foster, who is now closing in as we go through turn number 4. Louis Foster 3rd in queue. Here we pick him up now in the middle of your screens in the number 26. He just behind Foster. Then we come downhill once more. Louis Foster not behind himself, he's behind Cruton as we go down through turn 5. And Andrade there leading this next queue of cars. Yeh's gap is 1 second, so Cameron Daz keeping him fairly honest in the opening stages of this race. Maloney tucked in behind Foster in 8th place as he is now trying to attack Niklas Cruton, who is in picture there, coming downhill once more, down towards turn number 10. This is lap number 2 of 18. We'll go the full 35 minutes if we have to as they come through turn number 10. But so far, a clean start to the race, which is much better than what we saw in race number 1. And Yeh leading by just under a second, with Daz actually closing in a little bit through the middle part of that second lap.
Yeah, and Yeh's title rival Lucas Dunner down in 5th place now. We're watching him on screen now. The driver behind Glenn Van Berlo actually set the fastest middle sector of anyone, so he's closing in. A bit of tyre smoke there coming through turn 15. I didn't realise he'd be on the brakes that much on the second part of that apex. As they cross the line for the second lap, now it's up to 1.12 seconds for Yeh. Another fastest lap for him. Andreas Esner in 3rd, Maldonado 4th, Dunner 5th. Dunner is actually on the rear of Maldonado coming to the first turn. I don't think he's going to make an overtake. It'll be sensible to keep it lined up ready for turn 10 though.
Dunner eyeing up that move, as you said, on Maldonado. Here we can see Niklas Cruton. Let's have a look at a replay of the start. Looked like Daz got a brilliant launch, but I think a bit of wheel spin just after the launch is what eventually cost him going into the lead of the race. He then went to the outside and diving down the inside in the background. Dunner just got a poor start. He'd already lost a place there to Andreas Esner. Maldonado followed through eventually, and then Louis Foster there, you can see he dived down the inside, and I think that was Andrade trying to do the same thing in the background, and that was a move executed for Louis Foster. Is he going to be able to do any more? Well, here we can see the number 4, and he could be the next victim of Louis Foster as we go downhill. Yeah,
and Louis Foster's actually set the fastest first sector of anyone. He's coming up to turn 10 now, which is probably his favourite corner of the circuit, given how many overtakes he's achieved there in just his first race here alone. We're seeing Cameron Dass following in 2nd place. Like you said, with the launch, Cameron Dass, you almost saw his head actually kind of move backwards. That was how quick the car came off the line.
It was a great, it looked like wheel spin as he was going through the gears. So a shame there, but he is really keeping with Yifei, and this would be a great result. It would be his first podium of the season, and for Andreas, it would be his first since Mugello, and his 5th of the season as we come onto the start-finish straight.
And Cameron Dass has actually just set the fastest lap of the race, so 1:38.4. He's now under a second behind Yifei again. Lucas Dunner is the closest in these battles, though. He's still chasing down Manuel Maldonado. Has gaps Glenn Van Berlo, though. So the top 5 are pretty much broken away here. And the top 5, 4 of those are part of the Motor Park Crypto Tower Axis. And we have Andreas Esner from Van Amersfoort Racing, who will definitely be wanting to make up for the race earlier today.
Maldonado's got his eyes on a potential podium here. Here he is in middle of picture, the number 33. He is keeping Andreas Esner very honest, and he is able to hold off Lucas Dunner, who has won multiple races now so far this season. Hasn't been off the podium other than that incident at Spa. And Maldonado doing a great job. He's got to both attack and defend at the same time. Not an easy thing to do. but he's been on the podium 3 times before, and neither of those were flukes. So let's see if he can do that again. In his way, Andreas Essner.
And once again, Louis Foster has set the fastest first sector of anyone at 28.7. So he's actually going 3/10 faster than our lead drivers right now. Yeh is the quickest in the middle sector though, which isn't surprised because that includes turn 9, and that's probably, you know, the most driver-dependent corner. You don't want someone in front of you when you're going through that one. As they approach the final sector lap, hopefully we're going to get a zoom in of the final chicane here, because you can see how much marbles and kind of rubber debris there is offline as we follow Niklas Kruten. You're going to see it, the tyre marks, and on the exit of the corner, little black dots of rubber.
Very slippy when that happens. It can get so excessive, it's like driving in the wet. As down the start-finish straight we go then. And Louis Foster in the back group picture. This is your fight for 3rd place though. Maldonado briefly pulling out there. Just trying to make Andreas Essner a little bit nervous, and I'd say he's definitely done that. Andreas Essner had a fantastic start to the season. Everyone else seems to have upped that pace, and he seemed to just stay at the same level, hasn't sort of upped the pace as everyone else has. And sadly, that's kind of gone Andreas Essner from being a title rival to now he's in a really close fight for 3rd. Now, I've actually worked out, I think, with 3 drop scores where we are. And you're like a school teacher currently looking over me, really assessing this work. Let's see what grade I get for this, right? So Yeh is on 290, Dunner on 220, meaning if Yeh beats Dunner, he's champion. 139 for Kruten, who took 3rd away from Essner, who's on 137. 117 for Maldonado, and 110 for Cohen.
Yeah, that does look right, and I think it's worth explaining to the viewers that
3 drop scores.
Yeah, Lucas Dunner can't actually outscore Yeh across the remaining races. Yeh is guaranteed to score more points, but because we have this drop scores rule, there is a slight mathematical possibility that Yeh doesn't become champion, at least today.
If he gets kidnapped.
Yeah, well, I doubt that would happen. Might happen to me. But yeah, so it does bring a little bit of complication, but it also means if drivers miss rounds, as Lucas Dunner has, you're not going to lose your season straight away. And in this coronavirus hit year, that's certainly been a help. As we see the drivers come down the pit straight, see there's practically no shot. In fact, you can see the heat haze and a bit of that probably wasn't rubber. That looks like a plastic bag that one of the drivers ran over there.
Oh,
Maldonado looks down the inside of turn 1, thinks better of it, but he's run into the marbles through the apex there, so he's going to be sliding all the way through these next 2 corners, and Lucas Dunner is going to have an ideal opportunity to try and make an overtake at turn 4, probably turn 5, because that's the more open of the 2 corners.
Maldonado makes me quite nervous when he does stuff like that, because he will go for it. I can tell you that. He's become a driver that has gained he's gained a name for himself now doing that. You know, he's labelled someone who would just go for it in recent races, and it's been brilliant to watch, I have to say.
Full send, as they say in the paddock these days. And also, he's obviously got a very famous person he can look to advice to race around this circuit as well.
It was in 2012 that Pastor won around here. Famous when it was as well. Let's see if Maldonado can replicate that with a podium perhaps, as we go now down through turn 10. I think this is his first race here as well, but what a feeling it would be for him to stand on that very same podium. And
we've got a steward's notice, an incident involving cars 4 and 12. That's Glenn Van Berlo and Niklas Kruten. Down the main straight is under investigation now. That was when Van Berlo tried overtaking on the grass, I think on lap 3.
Right.
So yes. I'm not. Well, I didn't see who moved first in that battle. So it'll be interesting to see what the stewards make of that one.
We'll see if any more notices come up. We will let you know. We're on to lap number 7 in this race. We've got 1.2 seconds between Yeh and Daz. So Yeh, this not as easy for him, but it was later in the race that Yeh really started to up his pace. And that tyre conservation quote, I don't know if I fully believe it, to be honest, because Yeh could not have been conserving his tyres. Surely win by 5 seconds. That's Lucas Dunner is a very talented driver and very quick. So I find that hard to believe, but we'll take it as it is and say that Daz this time, if Yeh is conserving his tyres, and Daz is making the most of it and keeping with it. Yeah,
and the way the tyres work around this circuit is slightly odd, because as you compared it to the Hungaroring earlier this weekend, I'd compare this to maybe Estoril or Algarve in Portugal as well. This lap has a bit of everything.
Yeah, it's got lots of elevation, hasn't it?
Yeah, lots of elevation, which you don't really notice as much on the TV. But when you're here, and especially when you cycle around it, there's a lot of ups and downs.
I wouldn't do that, but I stood between turns 4 and 9. That is a fantastic view of the circuit, but that really shows it. And we can see we're at the top of a grandstand on the start-finish straight, and we're level with the guys coming out where they are on your pictures now. They're level with my eye line as I look directly out, so that shows the elevation change on the circuit in that final sector alone. This is a real downhill section, more than what it looks on TV, I'd say.
Yeah, for example, we're about 5 stories up from the pit straight, and that is kind of the height they scale at the turn 9 and at turn 12. That's kind of the height they do. So it's a brilliant job there. Yifei set another fastest lap on lap 7 there, but it's only by 0.007 seconds faster than Cameron Dass, so there's still 1.2 seconds between them. They're certainly pushing it. I think Lucas Dunner still hasn't set a lap in the 1:37. This is kind of similar to this morning's race, and actually at Spa-Francorchamps as well. Top 2 were lapping pretty much the same lap times, regardless of who the top 2 were, and then everyone else behind was kind of battling and just couldn't match that pace.
We're keeping an eye on this battle for third, and they are struggling to keep up with that pace. Andreas Essner doing a good job so far. Dunner, he's just not been able to find a gap, has he? I mean, it's hard for him because Maldonado's in the toe of Andreas Essner. So anytime they get to a straight, Maldonado's in the toe. So he's almost got to wait for Maldonado to make a move on Andreas Essner or make a mistake.
We're watching double R racing there, and because this session's so late in the day, we've had so much rubber laid down by all the other sessions. Going offline to make an overtake is going to be really difficult because, you know, it can be very slippy out there with all the marbles. Well, rubber marbles, not actual marbles.
No, I mean, I don't think marshals go around with those in their pockets and throw them out. Ido Cohen in 11th place so far. He's got Sebastian Essner ahead of him. Not the best of weekends by the standard I think he would have set for himself after Spa, but hard to make positions around here. We all know that. And Cohen currently running in 11th place, hasn't found any opportunities to make moves so far.
What we've got here is Andreas Essner basically leading a 7-car battle. There's a bit of a gap between Lucas Dunner, but every other driver is within sight of Essner right now. As Villa Gomez overtakes Alexander Bardin on the 13th, this is Villa Gomez's 2nd race in Euroformula, and it's still his 1st season in cars, so great job by him so far this weekend. Very impressive
indeed. He's showing some he's clearly learning very quickly. Got a lot of natural talent. Even if he is down in 13th place, I think that has to be taken into account. Maldonado, they're in the middle of this battle between Essner, Dunner.
Dunner did set the fastest first sector of anyone on this lap.
That looked evident actually there. You could see that Maldonado was under a lot of pace, under a lot of pressure. Sorry.
Yeah. Potentially had the double slipstream down the pit straight, then possibly backed out in turn 1 just so he could get a stronger drive through first sector lap. We do have a reprimand for Nicolas Cruton for the incident with Glenn Van Berlo. Reprimand's just a slap on the wrist though, so that's not going to affect this race result. Yifei going fastest in the middle sector again. He's done that 3 or 4 laps in a row now, extended his lead to 1.7 seconds over Cameron Dass, who has a handy 2-second gap to Andreas Essner behind.
He's starting to turn it up now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think.
Let's see how Dass can respond.
Yeah, he's repeating what he did in race 1.
Yeah, let's see how Dass can respond to this. You know, if he can see that gap extended, he will only try and do the same. But Ye is now starting to not conserve his tyres, and he's starting to turn it up.
And I think the drivers behind are turning up as well, because Andreas Essner, Maldonado and Dunner have all just broken into the 1:37s for the first time, and all pretty much set identical lap times too, as Dunner gets very close to the rear of Maldonado into turn 1. That's given Essner a bit of reprieve through turns 2 and 3. I think this battle is definitely spicing up now.
Well, we're halfway through the race. Your full order: Ye leading by just under 2 seconds over Cameron Dass. Andreas Essner in 3rd place, looks on track to take his first podium since the first race at Mugello. Manuel Maldonado is then in 4th place, 5th in the first race. Good result this would be for him. Lucas Dunner would feel disappointed with this after dropping back at the start, but he's got half the race still remaining to gain a couple of positions and get himself on the podium. 6th for Glenn Van Berlo, that's where he finished in race 1. Cruton in 7th place, so it'd be a rookie win for Van Berlo if he can stay there. Behind that then, it is Louis Foster in 8th, been a little bit quieter than what he was in the first race, but there is still time to go. Then we have Zane Maloney in 9th, Sebastian Esner is 10th, Ido Cohen is 11th, Ruby Andrade 12th, Villa Gomez in 13th, Bardignon in 14th, Matthias Luton is then in 15th place. So Glenn Van Berlo in search of what will be his 2nd rookie win if he can hold off Cruton, and that's going to be a battle that's going to go to the end, I think, because Van Berlo has 2 seconds ahead of him to Dunner Cruton right in the slipstream. Down the straight, and where we can see Ye, his gap is 2 seconds, so he's opened up. Cameron Daz is starting to respond, although he's starting to minimise any damage. He's not able to fully respond and take some time back out. Dunner is now right with Maldonado. I say right with him. He's been right with him, but it appears his chances of a move are starting to increase here because Maldonado has dropped back from Andreas Esner. If he drops out of the tow, then he will be in big trouble in terms of trying to hold on to that 4th place.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing now is the fuel loads are getting lower and the track is getting quicker, because while Cameron Dass has just set a personal improvement by another 10th, he is actually losing time to Yiffy Ye still, and the drivers behind are pretty much setting personal bests as well. So potentially we could get lap times venturing into the low 1:37, I think, in the second half of this race.
Here's Manuel Maldonado coming up through turn 9, hugely quick corner. Must be brilliant to see them come through that corner. He's in 4th place. He's got Lucas Dunner behind him. In the background, this is Cruton in 7th place. He's trying to get past Glenn Van Berlo. This is a battle we haven't seen for a while. This is Louis Foster versus Zane Maloney. Sebastian Esner just behind this, hanging with these guys. There's Zane Maloney, 4th for him. Would have been very pleased with that as he now makes his way down towards the chicane. Louis Foster has a gap ahead of him. Is he being patient here, or just has he lost the pace in those tyres, I wonder, as they now come out of the final corner and down the start-finish straight?
I think potentially had a poor previous lap, because it's at 1:38.5 and everyone else was in the 1:38.3s. Having said that, he's pretty much just matched that lap time with another 1:38.5, so you may be right, he's potentially lost a bit of time there as Das and Esner set personal bests again. So Das is running in the 1:37.8s, Yiffy Ye 1:37.6s.
So he's got a couple of tenths advantage then, and but Daz, this would be his best result of the season. It would still be a very good result for him, a much needed one as well for him to take into tomorrow's race day, where we have 2 more races and a further qualifying session. The grid for race 3 was set this morning. We will set the grid for the final race of the season at the end of qualifying tomorrow morning.
And we're expecting the track conditions and the weather to be roughly the same tomorrow, so what they learned today will be directly applicable to what they're going to be racing on tomorrow. I think this time last year when we were racing here, we actually had a lot of rain on the Saturday, and we had qualifying washed out, and that meant free practice times used, and Billy Munger started on pole for 1 race and Tepe Notori for the other. And Tepe Notori is still driving this car, but in Japan, Superformula Lights.
Tepe Notori, yes. Great young talent. As you said, took the win here last year. There's been some great winners here over the years as well. As Nicholas Cruton makes his way out of the final corner. He was here last year, did the last 3 rounds of the season. Best result of 8th, and that really helped him coming into this season, I'd say. 2016, we had some big winners, I'd say. Habsburg and Herta.
Yeah,
2017, Devlin G. Francesco and Felipe Drugovic. Drugovic would then win both races the next year. 3 for him here in total.
And I think Di Francesco's win there won in the Spanish Formula 3 title. Now, whether that was the last time the Spanish F3 Championship ran, I'm not sure. 2018 might have been the last edition. But Di Francesco became champion the same weekend that another champion was crowned. Because we used to run basically 2 series of him, 1 hill. Very impressive stuff. Yeah, but we don't do that anymore because Euroformula is going a bit international. I've heard paddock rumours they might be going to Macau next year.
Ooh.
Yeah, not near Europe, but it's you know, it's a good circuit for these types of cars. As we follow the battle, still, I think there's 4 cars within 2 seconds of each other in this battle, and they have been for the last 7 laps. So, and the pace is getting quicker as well. So there must be like a boiling point where this battle, one of these drivers decides, I've had enough of this. I'm going to, you know, dive down the inside of turn 10 and make a move, because, you know, they're not going to score any more points if they stay in the same position. They've got to actually go up the order if they want more points and more prizes.
Yeah, well, it's a balancing act. It's, you know, as much as you do want to go for it, you could do the complete opposite and take yourself and someone else out of the race. So it's, you know, you've got to, and we saw some of that at the last round, I think. So you've got to be, as much as you want to go and take that place, and, you know, especially if it's for a podium, then if you find a gap, go for it. But, you know, you've got to weigh up the consequences as well.
And reviewing the season so far, I'd say driving standards has actually been really good. We've had quite a few track limits offences in practice and qualifying sessions, but wheel-to-wheel battle, I can't really remember too many clashes between drivers that at least were, you know, not circumstantial. No,
I mean, Monza was good racing from what I remember. Spa was good. I mean, there were some debatable incidents, as you know, but that's the nature of racing. We're getting towards the latter end of the season. You know, people are looking at the points and they, you know, think, if I need 3 more, so I'm going to go for this move. It's one where you can judge the series, like, right, how is the racing in this? And there it was pretty clean from my memory, which, you know, is not very good at times. But Esner, I think that was Van Berlo we saw under pressure from Nicolas Cruton.
And this battle for third, all 3 cars are setting lap times within a 1/10 of each other, while Yiffier is just putting out not only a personal best, but the fastest middle sector of anyone, a 36.5. We go back to third place car, Andreas Esner. He is currently only 4.6 seconds behind our leader, as Yiffier puts in another flying sector, and he's got the fastest lap of anyone, a 1:37.3. So he's put another 4/10 between himself and Cameron Dass on that lap.
Maldonado, I think his tyres might be falling off a cliff here, because he's coming under pressure quite significantly now, and he is debating about defending there. Ever so slight defensive line taken from Maldonado. I think that was a sign to Lucas Dunner to say, if you're going to go for a move, I will defend it. He was prepared for a defence there, was Maldonado, and I just wonder if things are going to get very difficult for him now in the last 3 laps of the race when we cross the line next time. Dunner is prepared for a move. Cruton likewise on Van Berlo. They are exactly the same gap as what we see, so that's how close they are, as we are on now lap number 15 of 18. Downhill we go once more towards T7. Dunner can see Andreas Esner escaping, and that will prompt him to go for this move, I think. So here we go, through the right-hander at turn 9, hugely quick corner. Is he going to make a move? As we now come downhill, he's within 0.3 of a second. He looks just out of the window, I'd say, for a sensible lunge. So Dunner is going to stay where he is, and in the background, Cruton has not been able to make any moves either. You've got to be, I say, a couple of tenths back and you might be able to try something, but then you've got to be brave. You've got to get stopped somehow as well. Foster seemed to nail it. And
if you get too close in this final chicane, as you see Lucas Dunner follow Maldonado, you might actually be compromised on the exit, and therefore you don't get the run to get the slipstream into the final corner. I think Dunner's pretty much guaranteed second in the points, so he's got nothing to lose in trying to pass Maldonado here. And on that topic, I think Yiffier is pretty much certainly, definitely, absolutely 100% the 2020 Euroformula champion if he wins this race.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and Dunner is, you know, he's near 100 points, so that second race meant he would be at least vice champion. But of course, we need to crown a champion before we can crown a vice champion. That's just not mathematically possible. So this is going to be it. Ye and Dunner will be 1 and 2 in the championship. If we go to the flag as it is, even if Dunner can get to second, it will still be Ye, your champion, Dunner, your vice champion. It's the battle for third. Right, let's look points-wise where we are in this battle for third. So Cruton is currently on 139. He is currently running in 7th place, which scores him 6 points. in the race. Now, he didn't score at Spa race 1. He drops a 1 and a 4, so that won't be a drop score. So that brings Cruton up to 145. Now, Andreas Essner, he's going to retake third in the standings with this. His third place is going to score him 15 points, and that's going to put him on 152. So he'll have a 7-point advantage over Nicolas Cruton. Maldonado, he is in fourth place. That scores him 12 points. That puts him on 129. Provisionally fourth, I think we can say. And Ido Cohen is down in 11th, so he stays on 110. So there's going to be a change back for third place if it ends with this, with Andreas Essner taking a 7-point advantage over Nicolas Cruton in the fight for third in the standings.
Yeah, and you can see Lucas Dunner looking left and right, trying to pick a side to go around Manuel Maldonado then, and realised there just wasn't the move. Yifei, meanwhile, another fastest lap, 1 minute 37.115. That is almost 6/10 quicker than Cameron Dass. I said we might see laps in the low 1 minute 37s. I wasn't expecting to go that far.
I tell you one thing we might need to look into overnight. What was the highest point score ever in the
Euroformula?
Yeah, because this is going to bring him up to 316 points, this win, with fastest lap.
It's going to be between Harrison Scott and Felipe Drugovich in 2017 and 2018, because those are pretty dominant campaigns.
But this,
RP Motorsport.
this is dominant as well. 316 is a big score. Well, and he's got 2 races tomorrow and a qualifying session.
Because Lucas Dunner has beaten him to several race wins, he hasn't got the same kind of stats as Scott and Drugovich got. And I think Harrison Scott with Kokoro Performance has actually helped Zane Maloney's transition to Euroformula this year. Felipe Drugovich, obviously racing in Formula 2, doing very well. I think he actually won here, didn't he win the sprint race a month or 2 back in the Formula 2 visit? And he'll be remaining in Formula 2 next year, as far as I'm aware. As Yifei starts his final lap, he's lowered his pace by 0.004 seconds, so he's still lapping in the 1 minute 37.1s. 4.986 seconds ahead of Das, so his gap this race is probably going to be larger than the gap he had last race. This will be his final lap, I expect, as not the champion, because as soon as he meets the checkered flag, I'd expect him to provisionally be named the 2020 Euroformula champion. So he is following Reno Sato, 2019, Felipe Drugovich, Harrison Scott, Leonardo Pulcini, Vita Baptista, Sandy Stuvik, that's in the Euroformula named era. Then we've got Ed Jones, Victor Barber, I might be going a bit wrong there. Lots of drivers in the Spanish F3 era as well. So very long-lived championship this is.
It is under its current, as you said, it's its 7th running. But
yeah, and we can look at lap times from this circuit, because the circuit hasn't changed, and see how much quicker the cars have got from, way back in the early 2000s to now. Yifei will be the first Chinese champion of a continental Formula 3 series, I believe, because Martin Chow won the 2004 British F3 title. And that is his family watching on in the Crypto Tower garage. They're going to have a lot to celebrate tonight, because obviously they got a 1-2 in the first race, and Ye will be wrapping up the title in this race.
They're getting ready for celebrations as Yifei makes his way around the final few corners. What a season it has been from the Chinese driver. On his 10th win of the season, Ye rounds the final corner, and he will be crowned the 2020 Euroformula champion. Across the line he comes. Yifei is your champion in 2020. Fantastic performance from him on his 10th win. He crowns himself the champion. It's a first podium for Daz, a 4th for Esther. Maldonado finishes 4th. Lucas Dunner will be your official vice champion. Van Berlo matches his good result from the first race and takes his 2nd rookie win. Cruton is 7th place and drops back down to 4th in the championship. Foster is 8th, Maloney 9th, Sebastian Esther 10th, Cohen, Andrade, Villa Gomez, Bardignon, who crosses the line now, Mateus Luton finishing in 15th place. But there he is. Yifei started on the front foot, taking 2 wins at Hungaroring. Up until the first race at Monza, he had only finished off the top step of the podium once. In the first 7 races, he won 6. And Yifei since then has won a further 2 more, and Yifei is going to crown himself the champion with his 9th win of the season. What a result from Ye. He's had a a brilliant season all the way through, and he is your Euroformula Open champion, the 7th champion of the Euroformula Open Championship. Keeps the title in Asia, following on from Marino Sato's victory. So Ye, your winner, his 9th of the season. Daz finishes 2nd. Andreas Esner takes his 4th podium of the season. It's a first for Daz. Maldonado 4th, Dunner 5th, Van Berlo 6th with his 2nd rookie win. Cruton, Foster, Meloni and Sebastian Esner in 10th. Cohen finishes 11th, Andrade 12th, Villa Gomez 13th, Bardignon 14th. Matthias Luton finishes in 15th place. It's now official, Ye is your champion. With drop scores, he is on 316 points. That is with all scores confirmed. Dunner 2nd, Esner 3rd, Cruton in 4th place. So a change between those two. And the fight goes into tomorrow. On drop scores, they are split by just 7 points. But there is our champion. I think by the time we got to Monza, we all knew that it would be very difficult for anyone to catch Yifei Ye. That was the 4th round of the season, and when we got there, he'd already won 5 races, and that was the moment Ye crowned himself the champion. His family very pleased with that one. The Crypto Tower Racing team have done a fantastic job this season, and he looked like he enjoyed it. It's going to be a very happy podium. We've got a first podium of the season for Daz, a podium much needed for Esner. But here comes your champion. He's going to roll into the first spot. And Ye just can't be beaten this weekend. 3 pole positions, 2 wins, and now a championship title as well. The Chinese driver climbing out of the car. He came into this championship at the very start of the season when we spoke to him. Having crossed over from FIA 3, the goal was nothing other than a win. And not only has he won, but he has done it very convincingly as well. And he climbs on the top of his car, the top step, and he top of the championship. He's done it with 2 races to spare as well, and a beautiful moment there as he celebrates now with his family. Fantastic stuff from Ye. Mission complete this season. What will he go on to do next, I wonder? A big future ahead of him in this sport as Yifei Ye look forward to seeing where he goes to next in the world of motorsport. The 20-year-old has been superb this season. He's been faced with challenges at times. Monza proved difficult at times. Mugello likewise, but Monza he grounded out a win and 2 podiums. Mugello he fought back after what was a slightly difficult race by his standards to get a podium once again. Spa, he had that incident, which there was no rounds lost. But let's look at your top 3 then. Andreas Esner definitely needed this. His 5th podium of the season. Finishing in 2nd place with his first podium of the season, Cameron Daz, and he really does deserve that. One to watch tomorrow for sure. But he ended it on the top step of the podium. 9 wins for him so far this season. Yifei Ye is your 2020 Euroformula Open champion.
Yifei, it's done. Well done.
Yeah, it's been a tough race. I won't say a tough race, but in the beginning it was quite close between me and my teammates. But I managed to hold on to the lead on lap 1, and on the first half of the race I was just trying to manage the tires. And yeah, on the second half I pushed, and I really made a big gap to the end. So I'm very happy about that, and got the title as well in this race. So very happy about this. It has been a very yeah, fascinating and challenging season this year, and yeah, very happy we have achieved this.
And how you feel? You feel something special?
Yeah, I mean, I have to thank to the team as well. They did a good job. We have been working hard from the pre-season testing and throughout every race weekend. So we are always trying to improve, and that's how we manage to always be in the front. Yeah.
Gonchi. Am I saying right?
Thank you. 谢谢，谢谢，谢谢。
Let's look back at the highlights and how our champion was crowned. A brilliant initial launch from Cameron Daz there. Appeared to get him alongside with Ye, but eventually Ye would get back into the race lead before we even reached turn number 1 as we charged down towards the first corner. In the background, Andreas Essner would go into 3rd place. Dunner dropping back behind him, and Emanuel Maldonado as well, as the cars powered their way through turn number 3 on the opening lap. There were some moves on the first lap. No surprise that one of them was from Louis Foster. He going down the inside of Zane Maloney there to head up in towards 8th place. Maldonado would come under pressure throughout the duration of the race from multiple race winner Lucas Dunner, but was able to hold on throughout the race. Nicholas Cruton tried to do the same on Glenn Van Berlo, couldn't quite get through either though, as Andreas Essner, who has had difficulties in the middle part of the season, but he looks to be ending on a high as he was in 3rd place and extending his gap over Manuel Maldonado. There's Glenn Van Berlo. He had to put up with a lot of pressure in this race, but out front no one could keep up with Ye. 5.6 seconds clear from the rest of the field. He would round the final corner and he would crown himself the 7th champion of Euroformula Open Crypto Tower Racing in their first year on the top step. So podium now to the right-hand side of your picture there. Andreas Essner, 5 now for him this season. That one will feel very good, I'm sure. 3 at the start, 1 since then. And Cameron Daz to the left-hand side of your screen. Finally, he gets on the podium. He's really deserved that. And he is going to be 2nd place. But in the middle of your picture, here comes your champion for 2020, Ye, officially now crowned the champion. Team will come up onto the podium, and then after that we will pause for the national anthems of our champion. Ye in the middle of picture, winning team as well, Crypto Tower Racing winning team as well. They'll take the team's title after a pretty flawless season from them. And our rookie winner, Glenn Van Berlo, comes out onto the podium now. He finishing 6th and his 2nd rookie win. So there we have it. Ye is your champion, and he your winner of race number 2 here in Barcelona. Fantastic performance from him throughout the season. Cameron Daz on the podium with him as our rookie winner, Glenn Van Berlo, and 3rd place for Andreas Essner. Well, that is it for today in Euroformula Open. Round number 8 will take place tomorrow. We'll be out for qualifying at 9 local time here in Spain. Then the first race of the day will be at 12:30, the 2nd at 5 to 4. Thank you very much for your company today. Till tomorrow, it's goodbye.